Hey everybody, welcome back to DBDLeague Season 9. This is week 3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. We've had some pretty cool matches, some rather quick matches today, having a mix of everything, good chases, some penalties, some win conditions being tied, but unfortunately teams getting the win just because, sometimes you got to take care of business the right way. But we are going to get started with our last match of the day today. We have more matches coming in tomorrow, but we have a Tremor versus Eternal. I'm ssbkid, joined today by specTral. How's it going, man? Are you excited for some matches that we got going on today?
Definitely, man. I mean, Elysium, or wait, no, Tremor, huge team already. I'm actually surprised. I think I did get a little bit of a mistake of schedule, but dude, definitely some extremely exciting games. Not things that we have that we're new to at all, but I would have to say there's probably a lot of opportunity for some new strategies. Definitely. I would like to say though, with the addition of, like I said, some players from X9 on these teams, I think this could be a really, really, really tough game.
Yeah, I mean, Tremor already, no one is everyone's familiar with the team name Tremor. Obviously, some pretty good players in the past, right? I believe, Zafis, Kenshi, Ronnie, Boo, some other people on the team as well. And like you said, now joined by some former X9 talent, right? Now having, Ja and Haunt, who are very, very solid survivor mains. But then you also introduce Wispy, who plays every freaking killer in the game. So now it's like you have all this counterpick potential depending on what kind of play style, what kind of killer they end up picking when it comes to banning and picking killers. You can just like send out whoever you want on Tremor's side. Obviously, Elysium, no strangers to the competitive scene. Arguably number 1, number 2 in the world, right? Depending on who you ask. So very, very strong team, obviously led by Zeno, who a youngish lad, but a veteran of the game, has been playing for so long, right? Like even back in the Oracle days. So, obviously this team is, full of, veteran experience. So it's just going to be more so a clash of the Titans as well, especially considering that Elysium have dropped down to X9 a couple times as well. So, having some X9 players in Tremor, Elysium wants to get their get back. But we're going to be going as well, starting with some of the killer matches as well. I believe the first one, shouts to our admin team, Savannah, hooking us up with all of the details in the back, right? We have Ghost Face coming in for set 1, and that's the Tremor pick as well. So that one's going to be a little bit interesting. Obviously, it's just going to come down to whose comms are more on point as well, right? And delaying that first down. Ghost Face can snowball so well, but obviously, if you know what you're doing, if you're out here communicating to everyone on your team, you can keep Ghost Face in check pretty hard. specTral, what do you think about this one?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of the same thing, but I have seen, and I'm very interested to see, because Wispy did actually show a very powerful performance in another game on Ghostface versus the exact same team. So I want to see if he brings that heat from that game over to here. There's definitely a lot of history with these teams, especially with the amount of experience that they have, like you said, on all of these killers. And I think right now, really the whole goal for these teams is for Tremor to prove themselves one by one, that even with all these X9 players, they can still hold up their own. And I mean the original Tremor roster, not these small little additions like Wispy, Haunt, and everyone else. They have to prove themselves against this really, really powerful team, Elysium, who is currently considered to be number 1 in the score listings with all the points and everything. I'm pretty sure in the official DBD comp leaderboard. But super, super interesting matchup, man. And I'm actually more excited to see kind of what's going on in the future, because right now we are actually going to be looking after that set 2 being Hillbilly, which is going to be Elysium starting killer first, which I'm not going to lie, I'm super excited to see how that's actually going to go out, because I've personally never seen Wispy on Hillbilly at all. Hillbilly at all. And it might not even be Wispy at that point.
No, not at all, for sure. And also just, touch up on the first game, just a little bit of an update from the back. We're actually not going to get Wispy on Ghost Face, which is obviously probably the first person who you think about, like, for example, that Winter Invitational, way back when, Zaka's Ghost Face considered to be one of the best, not the best in the world. And Wispy came out and, outperformed that, which is, kind of a huge deal. But we aren't going to get Wispy after all. We're actually going to get Jaw on Killer, which is actually really interesting. So I'm not like 100% super familiar with NA comp. I'm not sure how often Jaw does play Killer in a comp setting, but you know, with this giant roster from Tremor side, if they're like, yeah, let's pick Jaw, to go out and lead us in the charge for the first game, it's got to show, that Jaw definitely knows what they're doing, and we're probably going to see a pretty good performance on their end as well. So, but yeah, like you said, the Hillbilly, the second game, Xeno's Hillbilly is actually kind of insane. I've definitely seen some crazy stuff on Xeno's end. And like you said, Wispy probably not playing Hillbilly as much as you think. Obviously, Tremor has a giant roster. So I'm not sure who would actually be leading the charge on that side. Maybe it's Jaw again. Maybe it's a different person playing Hillbilly. So regardless, it's gonna be really nice to see. And that's the beauty of having so many different players on the rosters, is that you could just pick and choose certain people for certain killers, right? If someone's really good against killer A, then that's when they play, right? And then if they don't feel good about the other killers, then maybe they sit out a little bit, right? So that's definitely an advantage of having a pretty large roster, honestly, on both ends, right? Definitely more on Tremor's end, but Elysium does have some people in the back too. So, and if by this point it is all up, 1-1, it's tied, we're going to go to the tiebreaker later, and it'll be Doctor, which is also a Tremor pick at the very end of the day. So definitely another killer who, we theoretically see in comp a lot more than most killers too. So, that'll be interesting for sure as well. And I'm not really sure. I think we're just getting ready to get started here as well. Regardless, at the end of the day, this match is gonna go. It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be pretty nice. I feel like we're gonna see some high-paced action. We're gonna see, people bouncing off of hooks as well. So this will be really fun to see. We're just kind of waiting to see everyone coming in. It looks like we're gonna have V1, Kexel, Marcos, and Pedro on Elysium side surviving against Jaws. So that'll be really good. Pedro, another addition to the Elysium team. Obviously rocked it with Eternal for a hot minute, and now on the Elysium side of things as well. So definitely a very, very strong addition to this team as well. This one's going to be really fun to see. specTral, who do you think is going to come out on top?
Honestly, I feel like Elysium is going to have a little bit of an edge here against him. I mean, Elysium has been a team for way longer with relatively the same roster compared to something like Tremor, to where they do have some of the best players in the world on that team. I don't feel like they've played with each other long enough to have the synchronization like they do on their own respective teams. Like, I believe the X9 roster, if they were to be here right now playing on with their own team, with everyone that they know, I feel like easily they will have a good advantage against Elysium, because after all, we've seen those matchups before, and we've seen X9 take it up against Elysium and actually win quite a few times against them. But Elysium does have a bit of an edge here, like I said, because of that old synergy that they have with these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might come down to who is going to, how this first performance is going to go, right? Jaw's going to be in charge of setting the tempo right here. So we could see it potentially go to game 3, but I think we're going to get started. We are here in the Larry's Institute, right? This is going to be really nice to see. I mean, I'm not really sure, what the thought process is here. Obviously the builds are going to be really nice to see. So, we're going to see, the Ruin and, Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, probably, a little bit of a slowdown, right? Just because you need, as Ghost Face, you have to slow this to a crawl, right? Already finding the first survivor onto V1, going to be moving around, doesn't even decide to lead the charge, decides to, stealth out as well. And here we go. I believe that's Olsen's wallet as well on Ghost Face. So every time you break a pallet, you're gonna get your power back immediately. So if you're chasing someone, you get stunned, you're able to, break this pallet, get your power back immediately. There it is. And then just stealth up and chase after someone else. Definitely gonna mess up the comms a little bit as well if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, and especially with actually looking at The sheath, I'm not gonna lie, he's gonna have to get a lot of value off that if he's able to get that chance right now. Actually gonna be sneaking up onto Marcos. Marcos is gonna catch sight of it, so he's not going to be completely caught off guard. He has a fairly unlucky pallet here to work with. Although this is a check spot pallet and this is very possible to play, it is on ping, so he does have to keep that in mind and be very careful. Seems like he's actually gonna be leaving Marcos and instead gonna be going back over towards main, which I'm actually surprised that pallet is up there to begin with. That is a very, very or should I say weird spawn. I've never seen something like that before. But looking at this build here, like you said, it is slowdown, but there is a perk there all the way to the left, which I'm actually uncertain about. I've never seen it being used before. I'm uncertain if that's like Face of Darkness or something among those lines. Pedro, fairly close by, does have TRE is now going to be in chase. He has a long filler to work with, which is actually very safe. He does have to play it carefully, however, because remember, he is playing against a otherworldly ping. It is completely on the opposite side of the map, but now Pedro's actually going to lose chase, and Jaw is moving back over towards the gens. Now, looking at the survivors, I do love the rule set and what it brings. It brings variety, it brings more strategy into our perks, especially on these survivors, because we're not seeing the same old exhaustions. SSB, what do you believe is actually the whole strategy of what their builds are right now, and specifically in the situation they're in?
Yeah, so obviously not having a ton. Ooh, unfortunate right there. Like you said, like you brought that. That's a good point you brought up earlier about the ping, right? You're gonna have. You can't play these like vacuums. You can't play, this like super aggressive and then come back and try to, 50-50 the hit and the pallet stun. You're gonna end up getting the down anyways. So and also to kind of just back up what you were saying earlier, that is Face of Darkness, and on this map, having those random screens and random tidbits of information is going to be huge for Jaw, especially if survivor comms are really good. And even while you're stealth, if they're calling you out pretty hard, you're going to need something to give you random information from time to time. So like you said, no exhaustion perks is going to be really difficult, to kind of maneuver around. That means you just have to leave stuff a lot earlier. That means you just have to play a lot safer sometimes as well. So but not before Elysium popping 2 gens. Jaw having 1 hook though at this point. Do you play this out and try to confirm the stage 2, knowing that you're probably going to lose another gen here in the process, or do you try to take the aggression to Elysium right now? Jaw definitely having a little bit of something to prove as well, so gonna stealth up and immediately just maybe catch someone rotating in for the save.
I think it might be difficult, however, because V1 could very easily have made a call there. However, I feel like Jaw leaving that was the right play, as V1's actually about to hit second state completely uncontested. No, last second, somebody is going to run in. Now Jaw is going to be running back over towards the hook, catching V1 a little bit out of position, but V1 is going to have things to work with and some resources. Of course, also a teammate nearby to help out, which is going to be Kexo's. Kexo is going to take a hit. V1 running into the library. Let's go ahead and switch back to our killer, as Kexo's actually going to be chased. Wait, no, never mind. Instead, focusing onto V1 fully. Bit of pressure onto these gens, as we are going to be seeing. Kicking that pallet to regain his power instantly. Not going into Shroud just yet. Just going to be focusing on catching up to V1, as V1 does also have a God pallet fairly close by. Using that red stain. Understanding where it is and where the killer is going. Very good plays there by V1, as V1 is going to drop that pallet and make a safe distance away. Now going to be going in the Shroud, maybe leaving and maybe catching on to another survivor. These comms on these survivors need to be precise. Very, very strong and very frequent, because any slight mistake here, man, could easily destroy a team. I mean, Ghost Face is just one of those killers where, although people do consider them to be very weak, on this map like this, where no one was able to call out where he was, sneaking up onto V1. V1 goes down, and that is going to be the second hook for Jaw. Exactly as I said, man. You need to be super careful with these comms. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in these situations where you're losing stages for pretty much nothing.
Yeah, you're losing the stages pretty much nothing. V1 going to second stage. However, someone was around. I don't think we heard any grunts of pain or injury, so that might have been Marcos on that main gen as well. But now we start to chase. V1 immediate rescue as soon as Kexo got into chase, probably communicated, hey, he's on me, y'all can get this rescue. But now this is the mind game situation. You have this crouch right here. Can you find something? No, that's a pre-drop. No, you run through it. You, sir, Pedro, if anyone's gonna go for these crazy plays, it's gonna be the 1v1 god himself.
Indeed, man. And now we're actually going to be looking at Pedro holding 50-50 check spots versus Jaw, aka the person that currently is on cross ping. Now going to be making his way over towards another powerful 50-50 power. But V1 actually going to be running into the kill. A bit of a mistake here as it seems like he was trying to rat for the gen. But now that's another tag. 3 people injured. Nothing to support the injuries, by the way. So that is not going to be any sloppy butcher, meaning that these survivors are going to be able to safely reset at a normal speed. Now, I do also think Jaw right now is actually just looking for the most amount of stages because he is going to need a snowball if he's going to want a 4K here, but getting that snowball is going to be incredibly difficult. He also has just lost Ruin as they did end up breaking it, meaning that he is now going to be in an even tougher spot with no passive regression, meaning that if he's going to want any regression on these generators, he's either going to have to kick the gen or go for a hook, and that is going to be very difficult. But now actually going to be sneaking up onto V1. V1 is going to catch, like I said, another bit of information on top of it. So he's going to make a good amount of distance here and make his way over towards main. I think right now SSB, I think the point for V1 is probably to take a down for anyone else that is in a bad situation, just to see if they can maybe get as many freshes. Do you think that's actually going to be possible, especially with Pedro going down here?
Oh my goodness, definitely not possible right there. Pedro is going to go down, and like you said, losing Ruin does have that pain resistance, and so you only hooked V1 this game so far. Now comes the pain right here, no pun intended. Can you make it to this hook? But let's talk about that interaction right before at that pallet. You know, you saw Jaw just not be afraid and just W key Pedro doing the crouch, right? Just to kind of, you know, if there's a slight shift in your body animation, you know, maybe you can fool Jaw into thinking you're dropping the pallet, which is what Pedro's probably going for. Jaw holding W though, earning himself the kill, right? Not letting the mind game get to him. And now onto V1, where you could probably get another stage right here, but obviously, like you said, getting more stages is a priority here. Getting more fresh hits is a priority as well. And that's why you see V1 not even drop the pallet, gonna leave the resource as well. Considering there's someone here for this pallet stun, are we gonna get it? Yes, we are. Great stuff to Kexo, and now wasting even more time. You gotta think that the last gen was being worked on, and just like that, it is potentially a 4 out on the horizon if you go after the wrong survivor here.
None of the fresh survivors are actually going to be injured at all, so there's easily a chase that could be taken here, but not going to be catching onto Pedro. We did see almost just earlier, V1 was taking a very, very smart advantage. He's not going to be chased because he's death hooked, so why not instantly get on the gate? Because now they're going to be maneuvering around main and most likely going to be making their way over towards the gate. Could we be seeing Kexo or Marco coming in to take a hit here very soon? He's going to have to loot for just a little bit longer because he does not have any teammates to support him. Has no pallet here or no resource, is making his way over towards one, so he is probably going to be dying on top of it. Good animation tech there, as it was almost frame perfect. Dying on top of it. Is there going to be somebody around for that pallet save? And that is going to be a pallet save from, I believe, Mark. No, that's Kexo. Kexo now going to be running behind them to take that hit. V1 also showing themselves there just in case they need to take it down to see if they can maybe get somebody else nearby. My lord, such an amazing amount of coordination from Elysium. Gets them the 4-out-3 stage.
Man,
Jesus.
that was insane coordination. That was such great awareness from V1, and that was such great awareness from Pedro on those 2 last downs in order to shift into the right positions, you know, close enough to their teammates where they can come in with this pallet save. And because the person dropping the pallet is fully healthy, you can't hear them grunting or anything like that. So you have to pick early, thinking no one's around. And what a great team performance right there from Elysium. Tremor gonna have to go insane on this second half in order to, you know, try to get something against whoever is gonna be killing for Elysium, and we're going to see that right after a short break.
Hello and welcome everyone back to the one and only DBDLeague. I am your caster, specTral, joined here by ssbkid. I keep messing up the name every now and then, but here we are now with the second match of the first set. Someone has a small Elysium versus Tremor. Now it is going to be V1 instead of Zeno, surprisingly, on Ghost Face, as I do believe there was a little bit of a mix-up in the scheduling for Elysium, so we're going to have to deal with V1 for now. V1 is a very experienced killer, so there is not any mismatching here just yet, as it seems like we're actually going to be facing the Tremor survivors, Kenshi, Zaphis, Ronnie, and Ja, which there is only one X9 member. From what I know here, as Ronnie, Zaphis, and Kenshi are actually Tremor members, and Ja is the only one here that was originally a part of X9, but I have also seen him on Tremor playing on different tournaments, so maybe actually more of a full roster this time around. Ja going to be taking an early tag, and a pretty good start for V1 nonetheless. How do you think this is actually going to go, especially with no X9 players besides Ja on this roster versus V1?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the Tremor players are, very strong in their own right too. So, they could definitely put up a fight as well. They've been putting up fights against other good teams for so long as well. So, obviously having more players like Ja coming in just to buff their team even more. Speaking about buffs right there, that was the interaction and a half at that pallet right there. Really good stuff to Ja, not being too impatient and not vaulting early or anything like that. And now you play this pallet dropped with the pallet drop, you play a longer tile now, but gonna opt to just move on. And this is where it comes down to, can you make it to one more resource right there? Good little double back just in case that V1 was wanting to cut Ja off. Right here though, you do get found, and that's gonna be the down right there. Gonna get down, and like you said, definitely going to be a little bit of a different story this time around, especially with all the different perks going on as well too. I think we saw Penti instead of Face of Darkness from V1 as well, so maybe going to punish the survivors for cleansing that totem just a little bit too early. So, but if there's any sign from what we saw earlier, it's going to be, they're going to play through Ruin for quite a bit, and then when it really comes down to getting the second or last gen done, then they'll probably cleanse it at that point.
Oh, Lord. Wait, I just caught back onto something. I was trying to see what V1's plan was, so this is kind of the reason I went silent there for a minute, because right now, if you want to know what V1's doing, you have to be V1. I mean, this guy's one of the best Blights in the world. And right now, he's playing a killer that isn't Blight. Insane, right? But now we're going to be seeing him on Ghost Face, and he is getting a little bit of stock on these survivors. We did see Kenshi Ronnie get that stock off. And I think right now Ja is going to hit second state, as there's going to be nobody around to contest it other than the gens that are going to be ran topside. There are some fairly distant gens. He does have a 3-gen fairly close by. We're switching over to our survivors. Kenshi's going to be setting up for save here, staying around the beds to see if he can maybe move in either after second state or maybe during second state. But it seems like it is going to be after second state, because right now, or I should have said before, right now, he is going to hit second state. Kenshi fairly close by. He still has a fair bit of distance away. And now V1's actually going to be moving towards the center of the map, moving up towards main. Now, he is going to catch on to Ronnie here. Ja does end up calling it, and Ronnie does end up pre-running. Are we going to be seeing a tag or maybe a sneak up on? Ronnie does have a lot of stock on top of him. Kenshi's going to be saving right now in this current moment, as V1 is still moving around the map trying to find the survivor. But the survivor is actually going to be stealthing fairly well, as they're not going to catch anyone just yet. But now Zaphis in the complete corner of the map, who was known to be working on this gen, now going to be found out by V1. Now going to be a quick chase here, as he's desperately trying to grab as much stock as possible, but he's taking his distance away and now going to be moving over towards a slightly safer pallet. However, this pallet is very crouchable, so he's going to have to be careful. Revealed out by a second survivor. Ronnie's going to be coming into support to chase. Let's go ahead and see what's V1 is actually up to. He's actually going to be catching on to Zaphis again. Zaphis going to be pre-dropping that pallet. Now going to be stuck in a bit of a situation where he might take a tag, he might not. He does make a pallet. Very weird pallet, though. Instantly going to be revealed out of that quick swing right there, as he's actually going to be hit. Zaphis not expecting him to swing through that fast. He's now going to be making his way down towards bottom. Good vault there, as he's actually going to be making his way. Another pallet, maybe going to be coming in with another hit, but I think this is actually going to be a down hit very soon, whether he's going to be swinging through it or not. But he dies fairly close to the pallet. Does he get dragged out? No, he doesn't. Pallet save coming through, maybe, and that is going to be good coming through from Jaws. Now V1 is going to be freed of the weight of Zaphis, but now Zaphis has to get a longer chase. SSB, this is not looking good. He does have to get 4 stages, but right now they are looking in a pretty good situation. Tremor doing fairly well.
Yeah, Tremor's doing fairly well. Obviously, that save onto Zafi is definitely a really big deal right here. Gonna switch targets a little bit? No, maybe just trying to fake out, maybe kind of ruin the comms a little bit. So you see everyone kind of just rotating around, maybe willing to take hits at this point too. So, I mean, this is gonna be a situation where, if anyone's gonna take a hit and probably run away, it might be Ronnie or Kenshi. Obviously, Jaw, like, if Jaw shows up, because, Jaw's on Death Hook, ooh, you got to be careful with this stock right here, though. So, kind of to just track back on the situation earlier at a pallet where you saw the quick swing on the Zoffies. You were waiting for that. Yeah, there it is. Yep, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with your stock meter. Obviously, you know, Ronnie had about 40% of that stock meter filled up earlier from when Ronnie was the one that revealed earlier when Zafis was being chased as well. So gonna get another hook right here. And honestly, you could camp this out for another stage potentially. But, you know, it looks like we're just gonna go, we're gonna be adamant and go after someone else instead.
Now, going back to what just happened with Ronnie, that is the result of the slightest hesitation that comes in to a very, very desperate situation. I mean, Ronnie just hesitated for a second there. Some people might have not even realized how long he hesitated. It almost looked instant to them, but you can definitely tell by watching that back if you just need to rewind to see what exactly happened, as we're actually going to be seeing, interrupting myself here quickly, as Kenshi's actually going to be in chase. Oh, what the heck is this? I've never seen a pallet be like that before.
Yeah,
something weird.
The tiles are so weird sometimes, you know.
What?
Yeah, you're gonna have to go for a break right there, and you get to visit. You get to go to this. There's a pallet and a window right here. That's a mind game and a half.
I feel like if you vault that and you swing, you might be able to hit that. It really depends.
Yeah, it definitely depends right there. Kenshi though gonna waste a lot of time right here, and if V1 can catch up, that's another hook. And if I'm not mistaken, 4 hooks. That's the tie condition, right?
Yeah, or no, win condition is actually, it was 3 stages that was given to the survivors. Now Zafis is going to be taking a hit as Kenshi makes his way back down towards library. Now going to be focusing onto Zafis, as remember, both of them are technically the same here, only Kenshi has a timer on his 1 shot and Zafis does not, as Zafis is actually injured, meaning that he has 1 shot to begin with. Now going to be making his way over towards a fairly safe pallet as he's going to be cutting into a few loops to be using a good mind game, as he's actually going to reuse it perfectly against amazing pathing by Zafis, as V1 desperately tries to do something about it, but he is unable to, as there's not much he can do versus 1 god pallet and a very, very, very straight path and opening. This is a very long tile as well, as they're going to pop the final gen, and they do actually need to get Zafis out here. If Zafis goes down, they are going to lose this set, but if they do get Zafis out, he is going to be the tie. Oh no, but no tie is going to be giving to them just yet, as Jaw's actually going to be nearby. Could we be seeing a save coming through here from Jaw? Jaw does have a flashlight. Could be seeing potential usage of it and maybe some support coming in, but Jaw's now actually in danger. Amazing fake, as he's actually going to be vaulting into him to try and see if maybe he's going to pick up in time, but no, that's not going to be the case. Second round, no! Jaw goes down, desperately trying it, and although some people may say Jaw was throwing this is a desperate situation. You don't want to lose even 1 set versus this team. But unfortunately, Jaw trying to make it so that it was a tie is now going to be the unfortunate 1st set loss. SSB, that could have been huge, man.
That definitely could have been huge for sure. I mean, that was, like you said, definitely altruistic approach right there, just in order to deny that, you know, the set winning, the set winning hook. And unfortunately, not gonna be able to pan out the way that they wanted to. Played well. Played hard fought, you know, across the board entirely. You know, there was a couple plays for V1 that looked like they weren't really working out, but at the end of the day, you know, it ended up working. There was a situation at the pallet where whenever you get the pallet drop with Olsen's wallet, as soon as you break it, you pop power, right? It takes a little bit of time for the reveal to happen. And if you're like 80% stock, you can just stalk right through, you know, getting revealed and you still get the exposed. So that's probably what, you know, V1 was looking for earlier, not able to pan out. Zafis was playing a lot more patient at that pallet too, probably understanding the counterplay to that. But regardless, it ends up working out for V1 as well. And we're going to be moving on to the Hillbilly set, you know, Elysium taking it, you know, to no surprise, but how close it was, probably no surprise either. You know, these teams are so stacked. So, you know, coming back, we're going to see the Hillbilly set right after another break. Welcome back, everyone, to set number 2 of Tremor versus Elysium. We have Zeno back and rocked and loaded, ready to go with the Hillbilly against a little bit of a different survivor team here. We have 17 Sock My Socks coming in, replacing Kenshi. Oh my god, what a snipe and a half. What are you doing? Just out in the open. Zeno's running it back. Can we get a 4-man down Hillbilly right here? No, we're just gonna get, oh, okay.
Oh
so that was all kind of insane. Zeno might get another down here if he plays this right. But I was just gonna bring out a point. you know, Xeno's Hillbilly, insane. Actually kind of crazy. You know, we saw him play against X9 and, you know, back then, and every set was so close except for the Hillbilly set. The Hillbilly set, Xeno, like, 4K4'd them or something like that. It was ridiculous. So we might see history repeat itself right here, but Jaw right now going to take on the main Xeno, maybe trying to find out and scout out another survivor rotating. No one home, though. We're going to see potentially going back to the body just to get up the hook stage.
Dude, that start right there has to be probably one of the best starts I've ever seen on comp. I mean, the amount of pressure right now, and right now he's actually in such a situation, makes it over to the pallet, but he's not going to die on top of it as the overdrive is going to come through. Remember, that's engraving, so that is going to be literally a speeding bullet, as now he slugs Jaw and is going over for Sox. Now, Sox is in a pretty good spot. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very strong loop, especially versus a Billy, considering how versatile its debris is, and especially with this pallet here. But the pallet has been dropped and now broken, as now he's going to be making his way back over towards the pallet, which we have seen broken before, expecting him to maybe try go mid, but no, Sock is not going to do that. Not going to be curving around here. Not enough distance, not even the engravings and overdrive is going to work against that. I believe that is going to be life, but this situation is all but dire right now, as Sock is going to go down to the M1. Jaw is going to get picked up in just a slight start as the first gen pops. That was not, I'm not gonna lie, I should have been way more excited for that huge exchange there at the beginning. He's still slugging, man. He's still going.
He's playing. He needs the 4K. He needs the 4 slug. Okay, that's my killer main right there. I'm not gonna lie to you, but man, this is such a game of all time. 2 people down now, and earlier we see that notification. Earlier we also have the infectious fright. You know, we've seen these survivors be really good about pallet saving and whatnot. So I think having the infectious fright, knowing where to go as well, especially when you want to snowball with 1, 2, 3 chainsaws as well.
I didn't even take a look at the build. What are we looking at right now?
Chorophobia is wild, by the way.
Yeah, and infectious fright distress. This is something you would see someone in a pub run. Going down, no screams nearby, potentially somebody going to be in a locker. Maybe that avoids that, or I'm not even certain. Does that actually hide your aura as well? Because I do know that it shows a notification on the map of the survivor of where you are. So I'm very interested to see exactly how that response is. Trying to use the curve of the hill to send him over into 17, who's going to be in a little bit of a rough spot, but now Xeno is going to commit to breaking this pallet with the chainsaw. An even rougher spot, as he's not going to be making anything but distance against him. Very good crouch there. Is going to grab him enough distance to make him over towards his pallet. Charges a chainsaw, goes for the M1. 17 is going to grab the stun. They're going to power up the gen at the hill. 2 gens popped on a single state on the board, as he's still desperately going for that 4-man slug. Have we seen him desperately try to do? We've seen those 2 downs. We've seen 2 people go down consistently. Could we be seeing another? Nah, not enough. Zaphis vaults that pallet just in time after dropping it. Could have been a very easy down, but tries to flick through that. We see that Xeno's Mouse's DPI is insane right now off that spin. An amazing stun. This is nothing short of extremely exciting. Is that smash hit? What did I just watch? An amazing firecracker as he's blinded shortly. Wait, was that a bug?
I'm not gonna lie, this game, this match right here, this set is wild in the sense of we're the casters, we have no idea what's going on, okay? So obviously everyone in the chat, if you guys want to LOLW us, that's fine. But I'm honestly really enjoying it because this is not the traditional comp DBD playstyle that we're all so accustomed to seeing, right? We have a crazy build, we have a crazy killer, we have a crazy killer main going for these insane ego 4-man slugs, not panning out. Has lost 2 gens in the progress though, but maybe, oh my goodness, okay.
My lord, the amount
Xeno
of game sense. The game sense. Literally, man, he literally knew that Sock was going to be just sitting at that one spot, expecting him to miss. I mean, even if he didn't go, or if he went for the longer one and he hugged the wall tightly, I feel like he could have gotten that. But that is going to be a 2-man slug for Xeno, meaning that Xeno is going to have 2 people now left on the board to slug and quickly grab. Remember, this is going to be a very high result, even if this is, I feel like a 4K 2 or 1 is a fairly decent result for a very good Hillbilly. Popping that 3rd gen right now. Instant curve, tries to hit it on top of Socks, but they are keeping the pressure on despite being brutally chainsawed every single time they're going to be up and at the floor. Not going for that swing, is actually going to be going around and now committing to the swing as he's going to be going inside of the locker to force the pick to maybe get just one hook so they don't endanger the rest of their team any longer. But now Zeno doesn't care. He's just going to drop him, and now pulling up his chainsaw after he kicks this generator is all that is in his head. He knows it is one plan in his mind. He's completely turned off his brain. He wants that 4-man slug. Like, I lost my analogy, man. This game is way too crazy for me right now.
Yeah, this game is definitely wild. We know what he wants to. He has the mobility to get from point A to point B. Maybe, you know, it's wise to just let that gen go and just go for these two right here. Gonna get a down right here maybe as well. No, oh my God, he's just gonna ego pick the healthy person to get them with the chainsaw. Kind of wild. Not gonna make it. Good crouch right there. Oh my God, no! You got chased.
No way!
You got money chased at the tree. No!
Oh my Lord!
I've seen those happen so many times now. For it to happen to a survivor is actually hilarious. Honestly, Zoppies needs to just flip that and put that on like a YouTube montage or something like that. It'd be pretty funny.
In the middle of a tournament too, man.
Yeah, kind of insane.
But no, like I said, one gen remaining, and they have not been 4-man slug yet. However, the pressure is on. They do need to be careful. They cannot let up even just for a single moment, because one slight mistake like this one, unless this guy has balance right now to support him, he is going to go down instantly. That's going to be a 2-man slug. Somebody going to be moving over towards Zaf. Zeno's going to try and go back to see if they can interrupt it. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to interrupt the reset, but he is going to be interrupting maybe a little bit of pathing here. Zaphis is going to run into his face. He's not going to make enough distance to get over towards his pallet. Now going to be forced into another situation where he's going to have to make this pallet, but Zeno is just going to be committing to the M1. Does not swing at that, and Zaphis hits the floor. Another infectious fight, giving him that value is disturbing, or what's it called? I forgot the name, but I know it starts with disturb, and now going to be catching on to Jaw. Is maybe another down. He does have sprint burst, makes more distance. 17 picked up in main building, probably going to be doubling that gen, or maybe somebody going to be moving over to pick up Zaphis, but Zeno's only plan is to down Jaw in this moment, calling him out. Straight snipe as he runs in a straight line and grabs that down into Jaw. Could he get in front of Zaphis? Maybe, but Lord, this situation right now is insane. Just a 4K1 is so still possible here.
Man, it's still possible for sure. Obviously, having that, you know, you were correct, that distressing makes that infectious fright so much better too. This is definitely not a perk that you are used to seeing in a situation like this as well, when you're playing against some of the best talent the world has to offer. But regardless, Zeno looking to just get that quick M1 onto Socks, going to M2 back. You already know what the name of the game is. Obviously, some people, you know, maybe to some people this isn't super entertaining, but seeing like a fast Billy, it just honestly, like, it warms my heart, especially because we're used to seeing, you know, really slow, methodical gameplay as well. So just to see, you know, basically Zeno holding W towards people, it's really cool to see. I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely, man. And something else I know right now is Jaws going to be in chase, meaning that 17 is the only person that could pick up Socks. But wait, no, Socks is actually even closer to us than we imagined, as he's actually going to be picked up fairly close by. Remember, this is another tough situation that they're going to have to get out of, because right now this is definitely a shot for them to get that 4K1, as I did mention. No gen pressure on any of these gens right now, but simply a good chase in a corner of the map could help them reset, as they're now going to have 3 survivors on the board, assuming that Jaw is going to go down. But Jaw's going to be running edge map to extend as much time as possible, using every edge style to completely gain distance against Zeno. Such an amazing play, but he is going to go down, trying to go into that locker, so he denies any value from him just getting the down and walking away, trying to force the pick to waste time with the animation. But now he's going to be interrupting the gen, as we're going to be seeing another survivor so close by, trying to get through this gen. Oh my Lord, my fever right now is acting up, dude. This game has me riled.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, definitely going to try to get the M2 right there, get stunned right out of it. I will say that Tremor has been doing such an exceptional job at just catching these pallet stuns in the M2 power and getting that timing almost precisely perfect every single time. So it's really nice to see. Now Zeno has to make a choice right here, and, you know, continuing to patrol gens Obviously, you know, with distressing and chorophobia, it makes it that much more difficult to deal with. Obviously, with 4 people injured, you know, with the Nat, that makes it a little bit slower as well, too. So, you know, he definitely has some time, but time is indeed ticking. Great break of the LOS right there, but even greater awareness from Xeno to kind of just wait until they pop back out, right? Are you going to go left or right after that rock? So, really good awareness right there, good game sense, and it's time to come back, patrol the gens. Obviously, with the 3-gen mechanic, you know, being introduced, you know, you can't hold this forever, so we're gonna have to see what Xeno's gonna want to do here. Just gonna M2 around, maybe thought someone was around, gets the pickup again immediately.
I'm not gonna lie, he does have one slight benefit. I wouldn't really exactly call it a benefit, but it is something that he's available or able to do, as actually every time he gets it down, he can instantly go back. Remember, he's not going to be hooking anyone, so his only goal is to down someone and simply go back over towards the gen to see if he can maybe grab a down even within the gens that they need to work in, because that is actually going to be very beneficial. But these gens are very high progress, and as you said, the 3-gen is going to work against them. That's going to be distressing, giving us the 3-person infectious fight. Could this be an amazing plan for Xeno, as he knows the location of everybody in the map? He does know there's a lot of progress on main right now, but he's going to have to go back over to his 6 after this very quick chase here. Could he get a fast down, or is he going to be able to commit to anyone? Catching on to maybe the second survivor that was also in this area, but he's going to be going back over towards the left side of the map. Also, I did end up miscoming there, even if I was trying to give a little bit there, but right next to Funbus, there's a big Dren that is going to be threatening this 4K1 right now, downing him. We are going to see that scream. Is that going to be enough to interrupt them, as Xeno's going to be moving back over towards the gen next to Funbus? Is that going to be the down? No, not just yet, but no, 17's going to be running away. 3-minute slug. Zanz's going to be the last one left. Not going to be committing to over towards the gen. Instead, going to be going over for the pickup. He's going to be able to get it. He's going to get it on top of Jaw, going desperately back over towards this pallet, but now they're going to be splitting up, as Zanz is going to be running in towards main. This is nothing short of just probably one of the amazing matches I've ever seen. Unconventional gameplay, yet so exciting to watch as they pop the final gen. Lord, help us all.
The final gen has been popped, and one more pickup right here, but the 4-man slug has been achieved right here. It all comes down to Jaw right here. Can you lock in and hold it down? You have a nothing here, though. You're honestly so cooked, I'm not gonna lie. Regardless, at the end, soft let out.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Xeno, why, dude? You lost a fresh hook. You got the 4K, but I'm not sure if lead outs count here, man.
Yeah, they might not come for fresh hooks. I actually don't know. I know someone in admin is gonna let us know as well.
Maybe
so
they give him the kill point. Hopefully they give him the kill point as like a brownie points. You know, like good job, good job.
Yeah.
What the hell? I've never seen something like this, man. Not in comp, especially. Jaw is going to die and bleed out on the wait. The skull. The skull was there. The skull popped up. What the hell?
Oh no.
Okay, thankfully Xeno doesn't lose another bleed out in case that is something that happens with the rules, and is now just going to have to start the search for 17. I want to quickly reflect on that match, man, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight thinking about some of those matches now.
Yeah, I mean, this is what. So when Xeno played Billy against X-Line at the Winter Invitational, right? This is what we saw. We saw the game end way quicker. It was like 4K4, if I'm not mistaken. It was ridiculous. But regardless, you know, so shout outs to admin as well, taking care of us behind the scenes. I appreciate it a ton. You know, actually the bleed outs count for full points. So
oh yes,
so you get everything across the board. So obviously, you know, now it's just gonna come down to, can you find everyone in time here before the bleed outs do happen? It's just a matter of, you know, for the sake of you know, production, they're like, you know, okay, wrap this up, let's go, move on to the second half, right? I actually wonder who is going to be playing Billy on the other side, and how they're going to be playing Billy on the other side, right? That's going to be the really interesting thing right here. And yeah, 17 did have balance in main building. We saw that earlier. You know, unfortunately not able to proctor. That could have potentially extended the chase just a little bit longer, but yeah, at this point, you know, Xeno's just kind of vibing, having a good time. I don't know where he's looking. He's looking at you know, basement in Shack. 17's like way across the map.
Well, I mean, it really doesn't matter. He's kind of just wasting our time at this point. because bleed outs are full points, but of course he's not. It's not like he's moving around to hide. I mean, he's quite literally out in the open. But dude, could we? I'm actually excited because I don't know if you know them, SSB, but there is a very incredibly powerful NA Billy, not the one from a different team, not the one that people would be considered old gen. I wouldn't actually say he's new gen either, but could we be seeing Certify play Billy? I do know he has played for Tremor once, and he might still be on Tremor roster even for this one. I think it's completely left to a surprise. I mean, if you guys know the rosters, you probably
He is on the
know
roster.
He is. So is he actually going to be playing Billy? He wasn't playing Survivor. He's not exactly a Survivor player, but he is known to be one of the best Billies in all of NA. But we're going to have to see if that is going to be the case or not, as we are going to be exiting here the first match of the second set with an amazing 4K0 from Zeno. Very well played, going for only slugs there, which definitely could have been an even better result, but honestly was very fun to see nonetheless. So we will see every single one of you with the second match here with Tremor going on Killer versus Elysium Survivors after our intermission and these hopefully short messages. Hello and welcome everyone back to the DBDLeague, as I'm your caster specTral, joined here by SSB, casting the potential final match here of the one and only Elysium versus Tremor. Gonna be almost watching the wrong game there for a second. Certify, as I did end up saying, a very, very experienced Billy. Interesting perk here by Zeno running No Mither. Could be seeing another plan, as we did see before in another game previously, where I'm pretty sure it was Zeno running No Mither again. Silhey now, or no, Zeno actually. Silhey taking a quick chase, and Zeno now going to be committed to a fairly quick start, no lie. But definitely a super interesting match here. Do you think Certified's actually going to be able to pull it off? I do know he's a super good Billy, but I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a difficult result to beat, you know?
Yeah, definitely a difficult result to beat. And also, it's kind of, oh wow, really good stuff right there on that drop right there. Zeno, Zeno's running the no myth. Hold on, I can't get over it. Why is this Zeno Troll Saturdays or something? Like I'm not really sure what's going on here, but yeah, I mean this is definitely a tough result. Obviously no myth gives a free hook. No pain res though. Obviously this build, with the exception of maybe Infectious, it's kind of like a throwback build. Kind of like, this build is insane in like 2020, at least with the first 3 perks, right? Minus Infectious. So obviously Ruin Undying's still pretty good. Ruin being reworked a little bit, basically the same as before, except it just, the progression's a little bit less than normal. But regardless, still pretty good. We're gonna see potentially the tunnel out right here. Certified doing a really good job. Zeno going to fun buzz. Can you drop this pallet real quick? No, unfortunately gonna get Pokos through. Unlucky right there, if you ask me. Just gonna get that immediate second hook right here. And like you said, this is potentially, difficult. It could still happen. You are playing with 2 perks a game now, and now that your passive regression slowed down or is off the table, you have to go and kick gens yourself now. So pop though, gonna be really easy to make sure that hurts a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I do think the situation right now generally has to be, oh my god, running into his face, taking a tag with that BT, now gonna be running in towards main. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna quickly resume my dude. Okay, Certified, chill. Lord, these curves are insane, man. But as I was just saying, he does have that shot. This is definitely a game where one slight mistake on either side could definitely change the tide here. I mean, we're seeing 2 different playstyles right now. No Corrupt Intervention opting to go for kind of the similar thing. We're actually going to be seeing one of the most dangerous things. Oh my god, Certified trying some fancy stuff right there, but they do end up seeing the W key from Pedro. Infectious Fright helping out, especially with these dying on pallets, because like if you die on the pallet, he could have definitely hit that. If you die on the pallet, that is going to be a pretty difficult situation to get out of. I mean, Infectious Fright's going to give him that value. Of course, Paco's Louise also working out an amazing curve right there. Is going to grab that down on it to Pedro, but now we're going to be seeing the strength of Novaither coming through as he's going to pick himself up off the floor. That is very, very powerful, as that was actually kind of in the plans of what they were doing, but now it's going to be a 2-man slug at 3 gens, as Zeno is going to be picked up, and now we're going to have the first death of the game fairly early on, and Pop goes Louisa. But remember, Billy nowadays is considered to be an S tier by many people, and DBDLeague also supports that sentiment because we have seen some of the most amazing Billy players in the world play Billy, and holy, results that you have never seen before, and the old Billy have been so consistent, especially with players like I'd like to mention DMR. God! Sohei. Oh.
Yeah, it looked like Sohei was running that tile really tight, but as soon as Sohei opened up, it ended up actually like going against you. Obviously, you want to open up there in order to avoid, the curve from Billy, right? But ended up running right into the chainsaw too. Like Certified just had the mind game on top of the mind game right there in terms of the curve. Really, really smart stuff. That window though gonna pose to be a problem. No Bam Bam like you said. Marco's gonna have to take a crack at this Billy now. Can you find something here going? No, unfortunately not going to be able to get anything there. Gonna have to take some time to catch up. But again, like you said, Billy buffs have been crazy. Billy stocks have been at an all-time high. We're going to see potentially something right here. Yeah, just get the quick little vault. Can you guess correctly?
Oh, Lord. Right now, taking a tag, Marcos is just going to be focusing on denying the instant saw. I mean, he has a state to use. He could get a little bit of distance off it, but now going to be closing in, doubling back over towards where the hook is, back over towards where the pallet should be, but the pallet was broken. Not just going to be forcing a pick. Could be seeing a save coming through here from Pedro's. Now it's actually maybe potentially going to be a double save, but Marcos is forced to run away as now Pedro's going to be stuck around the hook over at one, but he's going to take his distance, and Certified's only focusing on trying to get him to the second state, as he's not going to be moving back over to where Pedro is. He is in the general vicinity, but he's going to be doubling down towards the bottom side of the map, and back over at top side is going to be Marcos trying to grab that save. Is that going to be a slug of 4K3? Is Tremor about to bring this back? And it seems like, yes, I'm going to call it right now. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 4K3. What's your ideas right now?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, getting rid of the only person who has a makeshift unbreakable in Xeno with the no mither, unfortunately not going to be able to pan out the way 1 and 2 did. Manage to get a second chance at life there, but obviously, Xeno's still able, still dying first. And now, Pedro, it's up to Pedro, the 1v1 god. If anyone can do it, it could be him right here. Yeah, no one home for that. Pedro is not playing around. That's a quick vault. However, Silly is basically dead. You're injured. You can't even get to Marcos in time, and you're dealing against a one-shot killer. The 4K3 looks all but inevitable, and now it's just gonna be looping for pride at this point, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Being on a big screen like this in front of 1,000 people, getting a really good loop would honestly help anybody's ego out. And pride for sure, as Pedro does actually show his strength not only in 4v1, since he did get a fairly decent chase here, but also in 1v1, brought to you by DBDLeague's ladder system. He is a very prominent player and a very, very well-known person, so it is definitely very expected that he gets a really good chase here, especially with 1v1, since his 1v1 mechanics are insane, right? But that is going to be a 4K3 for Tremor, as we've repeated multiple. We just have to get this through our heads because, I mean, we know Certified was an extremely powerful player. Like, I was not just hyping this guy up because he's playing here for DBDLeague. This guy is the real deal when it comes to NA Hillbillies. Really good player. And he definitely showed his strengths. I mean, look at this result, SSB.
Yeah, definitely showed some pretty high octane plays. Showed a lot of really just like knowledgeable, just Billy snipes for sure as well. Just getting from point A to point B, downing survivors, making the right decisions too, like basic killer game sense. Like he played very optimally too, right? Like I knew that Xeno was gonna, pick himself up with no mither, but didn't want to deal with getting getting pouch slung, so just leaves him on the ground, right? Like it makes sense. Someone's around, definitely not trying to greed anything. Definitely took his rewards and just slowly but surely kind of just picked apart this team. Obviously, Xeno running no mither is, a little questionable, but regardless, he's still pretty insane. I know I probably could have downed him, so, I'm gonna let him cook. But we are going to go to a set number 3, the tiebreaker. It's going to be on Doctor. So that's going to be really exciting to see. Obviously, we got our fix of like super fast-paced matches, and now we're going to probably pump the brakes and go on the other side of the coin, right, with the Doctor plays as well. So it can be a very slow, methodical killer. honestly, at this point, who wins? I'm not really sure. It's going to be fun to see at the end of the day, though, as Certify has more than done his job. Probably not going to see them play later as well, but definitely put his team on the board in order to force it to a tiebreaker. Who's going to win this set? We're going to find out after this break. Welcome back, y'all, and it comes down to this one more set, and we have Zoffies on the Doctor versus Elysium. This is the deciding one. Will Elysium be able to maintain their undefeated record this weekend? We're gonna find out right now, and it starts here. We see the Doctor. I mean, we got some information with that M2, really smart stuff, and now it's gonna be maybe Marco's being tracked right now by Zoffies. You know, maybe trying to find something else. Maybe here's another survivor around two. Sees the scratch marks. Definitely good awareness right there. specTral, what do you think, man? How's this gonna go?
I mean, we have not seen a killer like this in quite a long time. I mean, I've never casted a Doctor match since, like, what, 2023 of, like, August? That's pretty long ago, and right now, probably pre-vaulting, that would have been a better idea, but very good plays there, as Marcos is actually going to be running in a straight line and taking his distance away from the killer. This easily could turn into a 4K, but remember, some good hit takes and very good coordination from these teammates could very easily tear apart a killer like this. However, they're going to have to be very safe around the disactivation of things like that. That's the coordination coming in from Zeno, taking up the chase now and taking the reins of the dangers, as Marcos is actually going to be looking at safety, as Zeno is going to be taking a tag right there. That's a play that we're going to be seeing. Hit takes coming in, people coming in to drop the pallets for the survivors that could not because they are being shocked and are currently unable to. It is insane how much macro and how much mechanics go in it to a killer like Doctor. So this is definitely going to be an incredibly exciting match to watch.
Absolutely, and just the way that Doctor can just cut that distance between killer and survivor at those loops with that M2 shock ability, right? The big thing is that rapid brutality is also going to help at this point, just because, you know, whenever you do get a hit, you do get a little bit more haste, which then closes that distance even more, and then you can close it even more when you're going around again with the power. So definitely going to provide some value right here. Zeno is at this point going to be dead. We are going to see, yeah, we're going to see Pedro coming in with the hit right here. Yeah, smart stuff right there. Again, rapid brutality gets the pallet stun, though, keeps him inside Shack. You know, really, really smart stuff right there. Does lose Shack pallet, but that actually gains so much distance for Zeno, and that also gains some distance for Pedro too. So really smart stuff.
Oh Lord, I'm not gonna lie, I do like the build I am seeing here on these survivors. I mean, right now we're actually looking, like you said, Pedro is actually going to be moving over towards the left side of the map into an active gen, so we can see a little bit of interruption here, or maybe a hit take coming through. That is actually going to be him running in front of the T wall, maybe double backing. He's going to be fairly nearby for support. Maybe a little bit of distance here is actually going to be grabbing him over towards main, as successfully Marcos is going to get in front of the killer, and now Pedro's going to be safe for just a little bit longer, but he does not have enough distance to make any killer that would actually properly get him out of any situation here. He does have this one, but he's going to have to dodge a shock, and he needs to get through it. Maybe an animation lock would work for him, but he's just going to be taking more distance, taking the longer side. He is going to make the pallet here no matter what, but he ends up faking that one and ends up committing to this one to guarantee the down. Zeno making his way over to try and help out Pedro, but no down just yet. He's going to be grabbing that stun. Zeno, go away. I won't need you just now, as now I'm making my way safely over towards this very amazing tile. Amazing loops by Pedro, as now Zeno is nearby to support just in case. Not seeing anything here just yet. Maybe he's going to be nearby to block him so he can make his way down towards bottom. Now successfully, that is going to be the case. Wait a minute. And they just found it. Now actually they're going to be abusing it. Is that going to be abused? Oh no, wait.
God.
Wait. Please
exactly
tell me the survivors can't. Wait. I don't know if they realized it.
I don't know if they realized it. Can the survivor walk through that?
Oh no, if they're able, would that be bug abusing? I don't know. That's a part of the map. Oh lord. Hopefully they don't abuse it. I mean, they can use it like once or twice, you know, by accident probably, but like, don't try to use that too much. That might be the single-handedly the strongest, safest tile, or sorry, least safe tile on an Auto Haven map. Because lord, tag coming through onto Xeno. Oh, that is actually going to be very helpful for him to catch up to Xeno here. Xeno's going to be making his way over towards main, but that's going to be the speed coming through from that Xenomorph perk, which I don't know the name of.
Dude, Rapid Brutality is so good.
Dude, I swear.
Good.
And especially with what he's running right now. Like, imagine Rapid Brutality with 8 stacks. And I'm saying 8 stacks of save the best for last. Oh, God.
Yeah, definitely going to lose a bunch of those stacks, so for sure, after, going after Xeno a ton. But regardless, we're still going to get that first hook. But 4 gens have been
oh my God, dude, I never realized.
Yeah, during all of that, right? During all the trading back and forth. It's crazy to think about. Marcos, Pedro, and Xeno all like got bounced around in terms of getting chased. And Silly was just like holding it down with the gens. But as soon as someone else got chased, you saw Xeno and Pedro kind of team up a little bit. Like they were the ones coordinating the hit tanking a little bit. That means the other 2 were just holding down the gens with, insane efficiency with essentially only 2 people on gens the whole time. So, really, really smart stuff right there. Really good awareness, coordination from the survivors. And now Pedro coming in. If he goes down, it's not the end of the world just because they have so much progress here. But you see that early drop because Pedro does know he needs to force this early drop so you can play this longer tile. If Doctor's forced to break, no, gonna keep going right there. So that is gonna be there for later as well. So really interesting decision making right here. Maybe that's smart stuff. Silly coming in to take the hit, and you gotta think that Xeno and Marcos are both on gens right now, maybe double stacking a gen, and just like that, all 5 have been popped, and now it's going to come down to the end game right here. Can we find something? Really smart stuff right there. The sound kind of, of the firecracker kind of, blocking the vault as well. So, really smart stuff. The double back, we see the mind games right there from Zoffy. So, but regardless, it's probably going to be, what would you say? Maybe a 4 hooks?
I mean, they do have 2 people injured. We could also be looking at potentially a 4 out here. But now Zaf is actually going to be ruining that completely, as we're going to be using our static blast to grab every person on the map, making sure that both Xeno and Pedro are completely insane with 3 stages on their madness. But Marcos is currently in the map. We could be seeing help here, but right now their only play is to heal Xeno and Pedro, and Zaphis is unable to do anything about that as they are quite far in the gate, and Marcos is fairly close by for the save, meaning that anything is possible from here on out. Whether Silhei wants to run down towards Shaq or they're going to be going over towards the other gate, anything could happen here. But I'm not going to lie to you, SSB, these are very experienced teams, and right now Zaphis is in way too bad of a spot to be anything bad. Elysium would have to make one of the biggest mistakes in comp history to sell this bag right now, as they have 3 people ready to take hits. Gates extremely close by. This is guaranteed to be a 4 out. I'm calling it right now, as he's trying to sap them as Silhei hits second state tag going through. Not actually going to be hitting Marcos. Going to be going through the save. Pedro's going to be grabbing it. Pedro running back over towards the gate. And that is just going to be it officially, as Xeno's going to be in front of 2 injured survivors and just blocking them perfectly.
Yeah,
oh my God, dude.
Blocking them perfectly, as well as losing some save the best for last stacks right there. If you had like 6 or 7 stacks, that could be really difficult, but we saw all those trades, like we saw all those hits from everyone, and obviously against the Biffle, if you hit tank, that ends up helping the killer at the end of the day. But because Xeno was the one that was taking a bunch of hits as well, it kind of just negated all of those stacks, and that's why we saw Zoppies with only like 2-3 stacks of Biffle at the very end, so not able to get a ton of value right there. That potentially could have been the difference maker in order to get maybe 1 or 2 kills right there. But that's going to be, was that 3 stages, I believe? So really good stuff right there from Elysium. We're so used to seeing them play so well too. So we're going to see how the second half goes though, right after this break.
Hello and welcome everyone back to the one and only DBD League. I'm your caster, specTral, joined here by SSB, taking it up for Xeno, who's going to be playing Doctor right now against the Tremor survivors. Extremely difficult result to beat, especially on Doctor, or should I say on Survivor against the Doctor, because Doctor can very easily be a super good chase killer. I mean, right now we're actually going to be seeing a super early tag onto Jaw, as Jaw is not going to be dropping that pallet. Bit of a similar build here, except no save the best for last. And I'm pretty sure there's also another switch here, which we could be seeing very soon. That's Merciless Storm. I've never seen that perk before, in comp at least, and maybe on a Doctor once, but dang, that's kind of rare to see as Jaw goes down for the first chase of the game. Very well played by Zeno. Now, do you think he's actually going to get some insane value out of Merciless Storm, or what?
So, you know, I've seen, you know, if you've seen a bunch of YouTubers, you know, talk about impossible skill check builds, Merciless Storm is at the forefront of that with Doctor, right? If you have tier 1 or tier 2 shock, which, you know, if you get shocked, you're just on tier 1 forever. Sometimes you'll see, you know how sometimes the skill check will appear either backwards or somewhere else on your screen, not on the center. Imagine having 6 of those, and where they pop up and in what direction they're coming from is completely random because of the shock effect with Doctor. Like, that makes skill checks around 90% so difficult, you know, so you have to be really, really careful. So delaying yourself getting shocked when this gen hits 90 is going to be so important.
Yeah, I mean, this might actually be, like, genuinely a very, very...
Like, right now, looking at Ronnie's going to be okay here. So
yeah, definitely.
Ronnie could just hit them here. But, like, those skill checks sometimes can spawn like in the corner of your screen, and they could be coming backwards, and like they kind of shake. So then that makes that skill check so much more unreactable. And so that's like the most difficult thing about Merciless on Doctor. So gonna secure that second stage though onto Jaw, and we are going to rotate around. And like you said, a little bit of a different build, but this definitely makes sense. Zeno going to try to maybe use the static blast in a situation where he feels like he's gonna get maybe 2 or 3 tags with it, because as long as you get a tag with the static blast, then you know they have to really lock in with these skill checks for sure. So gonna opt to go for someone else now. Gonna go to Ronnie, see if you can cut Ronnie off with this rapid brutality. Gonna try to maybe find a tile right here, but obviously Zeno, if once he sees the pallet, you know that M2's coming out right here, so that's exactly what's gonna happen right here. Closing the distance off a little bit. Unfortunate, tried to vacuum back and maybe get a stun. No one home though. Zeno just opting to go for the M1, and again right here, this is where the game can potentially snowball. You have to leave and you can't come back. You hear that gen chugging along, so close to being done, but you got someone down there, so the priority is just to get them back up here.
And especially in the situation right now, I mean, it's actually getting closer and closer. This is still technically possible for Tremor, but I mean, in the situation they're in right now, it has been quite difficult. 3 minutes is still left. Zaf is not going to be chased injured in a fairly unlucky tile. To be seeing that down here very shortly. Going to be opting to take the longer side of it just to see if he can make his way over towards the pallet, but that is going to be a down. And I'm fairly certain, since that is such an early, or the bleed out right there shows us that this is going to be another fresh hook, meaning that this is going to be a pain res for certain. More difficulty on these survivors is going to lose a lot of progress on these generators right now, and Kenshi's going to be moving in closer towards the hook. Now, Ronnie is injured and probably making his way over towards Jaw so they can both reset safely. Zeno might be able to grab the gain sense to see if he can interrupt it. We do see a survivor there very shortly. That is actually going to be Jaw, as Jaw is in a bit of a bad situation right now. Remember, he's on death hook, and Zeno does know that he stayed over here at this tile. Making his way over towards his pallet. He is going to shock him. Maybe going to be coming in with help from these survivors. A bit of extra mind gaming here is actually going to work against him. Very good plays here by Jaw, as this is going to keep him alive for just for a little bit longer. And those few seconds alive could definitely do a lot, but Jaw just gives up. He stands still. He knows he's dead on hook, and I'm pretty sure that's it, man.
Yeah, that's the 4th hook stage, which means that's the win condition right there for Zeno, for Elysium. That's why you saw Jaw just kind of stand there, maybe waiting for someone to come in and delay that down in order to try to breathe some life into this game right here. But it looks all for naught. That's what's hard about these skill checks right here. You have to react, and oh my god, Ronnie, okay, I can never hit that. I will always get farmed by those skill checks. So shout outs to Ronnie. That's why he is playing in this comp scene, and this is why I am not playing, because I can't do that. So really smart stuff. But yeah, all for naught. Unfortunately, Jolly is going to go down. That was, like I said earlier, that was the 4th stage. So that should be, obviously, admin can kind of confirm with us behind the scenes, but I'm pretty sure that's the win con right there, Matt.
I mean, holy man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Right now, with Ronnie going down very shortly, this is actually probably not going to be a 4K2. This is still possible to maybe just get 2 gens. I feel like 4K0 is a safe result. They do get that 1 gen, and like the game is already over. But remember, we're still playing for the best. Like, we do not want to look bad right now. We don't want Tremor to look like a 4K2 team, especially after their extremely incredible performance by Certify on Billy with 4K3. They do not want to show that they're a weak team at all. And with Kenshi making his way over towards his final gen, oh wait, doing that just before Merciless Storm, that was actually amazing. Quick reaction thinking there as he does hear him charging it up, but that's going to be 3 people in madness state, meaning that nobody's going to be able to do anything but Zaphis being able to come in from the save. Ronnie going to be let loose and free, not going to be committing over towards Zaphis. Potentially probably going to be sticking back over onto the gen. Pazino's going to be moving his way back over as he does know that Merciless Storm is going to help him out here if he was committing to it, but no, that is not going to be the case, and the game is going to be extended for even longer than we originally anticipated as he kicks it, and now it is going to be passively regressing.
Yeah, definitely going to be possibly regressing right there. I mean, like you said, you know, everyone having to get rid of their madness in order to hop back on that gen. But, you know, going to have to deal with Merciless Storm right here. You might want to just hop on another gen if you're Zafis and Ronnie. Now that Kenshi's taking chase and pulling Xeno away from main building a little bit. Not by much, though. So, you know, still kind of around. Gonna opt to go for the heal instead. And this is gonna be the tag for sure. So, gonna be the tag, 2 pain res stacks. So that main gen is just gonna, you know, go down even more, you know, aside from the passive regression right here. So, you know, Kenshi, can he hold on for a little bit longer? Gonna have to go somewhere else. And yeah, that just forces the down right there. Really, really smart stuff from Xeno. Good awareness. Kenshi not able to hold on for long enough. You see them going there. Oh my god. Yeah, that's Merciless Storm. Unfortunate right there. Tried to push through it. And I mean, when you're dealing with 2 people on the same gen, if only one of them messes it up, it ruins the gen for both of them, right? So they both get pushed off. So that's really unlucky right there. Are you gonna go? I think we're waiting a few seconds for this Merciless Storm to go away to get the pain res, right? Because those gen regressions like pain res and stuff like that don't work while Merciless Storm is active. So, you know, Xeno, good awareness right there. A little bit of a check, right? If you're not aware. So Merciless Storm does happen once per gen though, so they don't have to deal with it again. However, Xeno's just gonna come back to this gen, you know, himself. Now that he doesn't have a passive way to check these survivors, right?
Yeah, and now taking a tag on Ronnie, that's going to look like an even tougher situation. They're going to be saving fairly close by. Xeno's going to be moving back over to see if he can maybe commit to someone, opting to commit for no one just yet. He is kind of holding down the situation. He is going to lock them down, probably grab a few. Zaph is now going to be moving over with Kenshi, as Kenshi's going to be making his way over towards one. Ronnie's probably going to be on a gen right now, as Zaph is going to be quickly taking a tag. Nothing too exciting. I'm not going to lie, this looks kind of just like normal gameplay, but very easily could this turn into something extremely amazing, whether Zathis is going to make a good chase out of this or not. But it seems like no, because unfortunately there's no pallet here. Instead, we're just going to be forcing the locker to... Oh, wait. That is so helpful. I just realized he forced the locker to not allow him any chance to try to go over. I mean, pretty much I think they would have been able to get that either way, but the scare of Merciless Storm is definitely something that these survivors are going to have to look out for completely, no matter what. Good lord, but they did end up pushing through it, and now they're probably going to be looking at an out here. Maybe 1 out, or maybe even a 2 out if they do play their cards correctly, but it seems like right now in a super tough situation, Ronnie's going to be on gate, Kenshi's now going to be free, and now in chase. Difficultly, Zathis is also on deathhook, meaning that he could let go, and they could potentially go for a hatch play, but Xeno is going to be cutting him off, knowing that this is potentially a play. There is still some time on his hands, so he could try to make a play here to see if he can maybe mind game him, holding that check spot. Very well played by Kenshi, not deciding to panic anything, and instead just going to be playing around what he simply knows. Oh my god, the greed is insane. insane. Tries to go over for this pallet, is not going to be able to drop it because of the lockdown from that, and a good mind game is going to grab him that down. Zaf is going to be saved off the hook as they're now going to be making their way over towards the gate. Ronnie is the one that is going to have to get away here, however, because if Zafis does go down, that is only going to be something that he would have not lost at all. He does have just one stage remaining, and he would have died either way if they didn't decide to save him here. But now, Ronnie going over to the gate, safely making it because Zeno, it does not have enough distance on top of him. Now Zaf is going to be going down all the way over towards bottom to see if he can maybe pick up Kenshi, because Kenshi, remember, is the second survivor that he is going to have to escape. So we're going to have to see a play here. Probably Kenshi stealthing over towards the right side of the map, and Zaf is just instantly getting on the gate because remember, Zafis is on death hook, so there's probably not going to be too much scare there. But wait, maybe they can have a different plan in mind. What do you think they can pull off here, SSB?
I think at this point, you know, zoning one of them to a situation where, like, in an area where the gate is not super close, like there's no pallet right here in order to drop stun and then maybe get some distance, or maybe there is, but regardless, Zeno is just gonna opt to just zone out both survivors here. I think someone made it across though, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's gonna be it right there. So that's gonna be one person out. What you want to do is get that escape and then be positioned in the right place to get hatch, but you can stop the hatch with the shock as well, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. Oh my god, the mind game right there, Zeno positioned in the right spot. So basically what Kenshi did there, right, if you're asking yourself why does he just go for hatch, whatever, you can shock the hatch and then you can't go in, so then he just closes it for free. But Kenshi knew that. Kenshi knew that and opted to leave Shack early, thinking that Zeno was gonna waste more time there. Unfortunately, Zeno was in a position where he could just react, which makes it that much more difficult for you to actually get through. And that's gonna be the death onto Kenshi. Oh wait, are we just gentlemaning? We're gentlemaning the hatch let go. I mean, at this point, because the game is over, right? The win con was met so long ago. Zeno was like, you know what, you can have it. Y'all played us a very valiant and fair game. Thanks for the game. It's been GG's. Are you?
Oh wait,
can't you go through, man?
Modesty? Yeah, that is honestly, I've never seen something like that before. That is just some insane sportsmanship, man. That was wholesome. Giving him the hats there, and Kenshi being like, "Nah, man, you should just kill me. Like, you got the win. You got me fair and square." Such an amazing match, man.
Absolutely.
With an insane Ghost Face set where we saw Jaw play and unfortunately not be able to pull that out against Zeno's powerful killer, grabbing such an amazing result. And then that insane slug play done by Zeno, grabbing a 4K at 0, but an even better play by Certified's Billy, getting a 4K 3. And then this final match getting us just a perfect Doctor match. So nice, man. I was very hyped to watch that.
Yeah, definitely super hyped to watch for sure. I mean, it was a great time. You know, it was very hard fought every single game. Obviously, the last game, it felt like Zeno just kind of ran away with it, but that's kind of that experience that you mentioned earlier, right? And when we were talking about predictions on who's going to take the whole thing, right? You know, Elysium is just, you know, they're just so solid, they're so good. They, you know, Zeno is aware of stuff. He's been playing the game for so long. Obviously, everyone has. Zeno is like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, Zeno is young, but he's a veteran of the scene. Like, he's been playing, you know, he was really young when he started playing like competitive, so definitely has a really high awareness level, and that definitely showed, especially in that last set as well. Unfortunately, you know, we do have winners and losers, right? And Elysium is going to take it. Tremor going to end up you know, taking the L, but you know, losing 2-1 to Elysium, there's no shame in that for sure. So especially because they're probably one of the favorites, if not the favorites, to win the whole season 9 of DBDLeague as well. So,
and they did take a set.
Hey, I'm Arla. I had the honor to work on the Season 9 artwork. My first ever render for the DBDLeague was back in 2022, and ever since then it was a pleasure to provide them with my work. But let's talk about Season 9's artwork. First I thought, well, this is a big challenge for me, so I started to build up the scene, made the building, added the textures, and it was certainly not an easy task, but motivation is my only key, in which case is to make people happy with my art. I was told which killers to use, and I could choose the survivors, but of course it wouldn't be the same if I wasn't using the iconic gate, and since it seemed as a good opportunity, we changed up the survivors I originally wanted to use to the lovely people who are also known as the staff of the DBDLeague. It all turned out how everyone imagined it, and that really made me happy. I also have worked on the last 2 seasons' artwork, the winter themed and my personal favorite Halloween one, since it's my favorite season of the year, and it was just in general an amazing concept. But hey, stay tuned, there's more to come. Take care, everyone.